Greetings to you and welcome you for this session. We'll continue to learn about the foundations of logical reasoning and emotional intelligence through this. This is the part 4 of logical reasoning and emotional intelligence. If you have missed the first 3 parts, you can still go through the video sessions on that and learn from it. The previous 3 parts we learnt about the foundations and introduction about logical reasoning, classifications under logical reasoning, and some 20 subtopics under logical reasoning, verbal reasoning. From now onwards, we will learn about the classifications that are under logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning. So the first classification under logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning is image series. Sometimes a picture or series of pictures may have a logical sequence or order or some similarity with gradual or progressive differences that may add value into it. We may be able to identify what would be the next in the series or next in the part of the picture by just using the logics and facts that are associated with that. So let us look into an example for image series. The question is, select a figure from amongst the answer figures which will continue the same series as established by the 5 problem figures. So the problem figure is given as well as the answer figure is given. You have to find out what would be the next in the series. We may guess your answer. So the answer for this one is option E, that is fifth one. If you look at the question figure, it has two symbols, one at the lower left hand and another at the upper right hand. So the lower left hand symbol vanishes when it goes to next step, whereas the upper right hand symbol takes the mirror image and has its position in the lower left hand when it goes next. So it continues like that, and every time when it moves to the next step, a new symbol is added on the upper right hand. That symbol we are not so much familiar, but we can have a prediction that the upper right hand has some symbol. So the answer for this one is option E. So the next classification under logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning is construction of shapes. If we look at the different things that are around us, every big thing or big picture that we come across can be simplified and viewed as a set of small shapes and small pictures for its reconstruction, analysis, and also making something out of it. So it would be practically very much relevant to us, even when we are trying to fix the machineries that are repaired, or even when we try to uh, identify the missing parts of something. We would be able to use these concepts in that. Even at times of making corrections in the drawings that are outdated, we are be able to use this concepts. Let us look into an example for construction of shapes. So the question is, select the alternative which represents 3 out of the 5 alternative figures which when fitted into each other would form a complete square. So here are some pictures that are given. So 5 pictures are given. You have to choose 3 among the 5 pictures that forms a complete square. So the answer for this one is option B. When we combine the pictures 1, 2 and 5, we would be able to get a complete square as shown in the figure here. The next sub-classification under logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning is classification. So classification helps in the systematic arrangement of things by identifying the similarities and differences between different pictorial forms or visual images, and it would be very much helpful for identifying different things and processing different things based on the different applications we are involved in. Let us look at an example for classification. The question is, choose the figure which is different from the rest. Here are 5 pictures that are given. You have to identify which one is different. You may guess your answer. The answer for this one is option C, that is third figure, because all other figures have parallel lines, whereas the third one have lines that are in different directions. It is not parallel. The next subclassification under logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning is picture analogies. Picture analogies helps us to identify something that is incomplete or that is missing by comparing and analyzing with already known or existing pair of pictures. So we will be able to compare with the given data or known data, and we will be trying to identify or guessing the missing parts. Let us look into an example for picture analogies. So the question is, select a suitable figure from the answer figures that will replace the question mark. Problem figures are given and answer figures are also given. I have to understand the first two problem figure, which is a pair, and accordingly identify the picture that would replace the question mark. So the answer for this is option A. From the problem figures, first two pairs, the second figure is derived by putting the first figure upside down. So likewise, the fourth figure would be derived by putting the third figure upside down. The next subclassification under logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning is rule detection. Rule detection helps us to act appropriately according to the different times, places, context and situation, though there is no one to instruct what we are supposed to do or be. Sometimes there would be signboards, there would be pictures through which we have to understand based on what rule it had been proposed or put on. So rule detection concepts helps us in that. Let us look at an example for rule detection. The question is, choose the set of figures which follows the given rule. The rule is closed figures losing their sides and open figures gaining their sides. So the figure is given. You may guess your answer. So the answer for this one is option C, that is third figure. The third figure, the outer hexagon, loses its side when it goes to the next segment, whereas the inner line gains its side when it goes to the next segment. So far we had seen about logical reasoning, and in that we had integrated and uh, learned some of the concepts of emotional intelligence. Now we will discuss in more detail about emotional intelligence itself. So emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage our own emotions and those of the people around us. It helps us to understand what we are doing, how we perceive things, how we are feeling about different things that are around us, and as well as how people take up different things, how they feel about different scenarios, and it helps in analyzing and knowing that. Emotional intelligence helps us to build stronger relationships. It also helps us to be successful at a study place or workplace, and also achieve our career and personal goals. It makes a sense of belonging with ourselves as well as the people around us, and helps us to think everything in a different perspective, not just be content or be offended or defended by our own emotions. It helps us to have a broader perspective and reach more people. Emotional intelligence helps us to connect with our feelings. It means we are integrated in our thoughts and actions, and also it helps us to turn our intention to action. So, not just we think and we analyze the ideas within ourselves, but we put it into actions. Also, it helps us to make effective decisions by considering what is most important to us. So it will be surely helpful to uh, make us think about more meaningful actions for achieving our goals. People with high degree of emotional intelligence know what they are feeling, what their emotions mean, and how these emotions can affect other people. So they are very careful in expressing the words and expressing the actions, though it might be likely or it might be dislikely. They show controlled expressions and emotions at all the time. So emotional intelligence involves the aspects of self as well as the aspects of others. So it has self-awareness, social awareness. Also, it has self-regulation or management, as well as relationship management, which is based on empathy and motivation. So, emotional intelligence involves the four aspects. The first thing is the self management. So, self management helps us to control impulsive feelings and behaviors. It helps us to manage the different emotions and in a healthier way. It also helps us to take initiative whenever there is a need around us. It helps us to accomplish whatever we are committed, and it also helps us to adapt to different changing or demanding circumstances. So it basically helps us to able to cope up with different environment with our own thoughts and with our own actions without affecting others. The second aspect that is involved in emotional intelligence is self-awareness. So the self-awareness helps us to recognize our emotions, how we are acting at different circumstances, and how those uh, thoughts and actions are affecting others, and also we will be able to know about our strengths and weaknesses. We'll be able to have self-confidence in ourselves based on what we know and what we don't know. The third aspect in emotional intelligence is social awareness. It helps us in having empathy towards another person, that is putting ourselves in the shoes of others to know their thoughts and feelings. It also helps us to understand the emotions, needs, and concerns of other people and act towards it. Also, it helps us to make others feel comfortable in a social circumstance and recognize the power of teamwork. The final aspect, that is the fourth aspect in emotional intelligence, is relationship management. Relationship management helps us to know how to develop and maintain good relationships that are around us. It helps us to have good communication and clear communication with everyone. It helps us to inspire and influence people for positive change as well as work together in a team. It helps well in a management of conflict. That is, there are always differences between us, and we need to accept one another and go along with one another for effective work. You may check your emotional intelligence through the following questions or scenarios. The question is, I have a desire towards something and I will get it dash. Option A, anyway. Option B, in a right way. Option C, to satisfy myself. Option D, to satisfy others. You may guess your answer. There is nothing right or wrong, just a thought that is within you. So the best answer for this one would be option B, in a right way, considering the self as well as others. That would be the best suitable answer. Next question is, I have a goal and a purpose and I will succeed towards it only if there is dash and effort. Option A, opportunity. Option B, support. Option C, motivation. Option D, initiative. Guess your answer. The best answer for this one would be option D, initiative, because all other things are from outside. If there is nothing from within ourselves or from our side, there would not be any forward movement. So initiative is the very first step, very essential step that is necessary for achieving our goals and purpose. The third question is, I am not good at speaking English and people criticize, so I will dash. Option A, not try myself. Option B, yell at people. Option C, try till I succeed. Option D, worry about myself. Guess the answer. So with a person who has a high emotional intelligence, that person will surely not react towards other or not react towards self about some problem, but takes necessary steps for doing something to solve the problem. So based on that, we can see that option C is more appropriate. The person will try till he succeeds. The best answer for this one would be option B, the behavior, because a person with good emotional intelligence does not hate people, does not hate the self, but hate certain behaviors that are inappropriate. The final question would be, one of my classmates is very slow in playing cricket and I will dash him. Option A, accuse or scold. Option B, not play with. Option C, not give chance to. Option D, support and encourage. I guess the answer. So the best answer for this one would be support and encourage. Likewise, when we have good self awareness as well as social awareness and good relationship management, we will be a support and encouragement to others. Let us look into an activity that helps us to gain more emotional intelligence. You shall write your full name letter by letter vertically in the language you are comfortable, and you shall think about positive words starting with the letters of your name. That helps you to gain emotional intelligence. Still, all the letters are filled up with some word. You may write the letters one after one in a column, and then you can guess or write a word that helps you to gain emotional intelligence that is starting with that letter. For example, if a person's name is Daniel, shall write D-A-N in a column wise vertically, and he may write D for dynamic or desirable or some other word that is starting with letter D. Then A for attitude or active, adorable, even some other word he might write, and it goes like that. Here comes the conclusion of logical reasoning and emotional intelligence. Here are the references for part 4. You may go through these references for further learning and practice under logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning. It will be surely give new insights and new ideas about that. Thanks for listening and thanks for participating in the session. We will soon meet up for the another topic. Thank you.